Hello everyone, welcome back. And why does Barcelona seem like such a mess right now? And that's the question I want to try and answer. I think there are 3 or 4 sections that I just want to talk about, and I'm just going to go through everything. We also have a guest star back here, see if he's sleeping. He's going to help me talk about Barcelona. He's also an expert on the club. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about what's going on at the club right now with the help of Finn. And the first problem I have with Barcelona right now is the summer plan, and that's the first part that I want to talk about because I think there are some exits that need to be made in the summer. Some players are going to have to be sold. And I also think, there are some key parts that Barcelona, they need to fill in the squad, and that's going to require a little bit of money. And do Barcelona have that money to make those signings? And do the players that Barcelona need to sign want to join the club? Can Barcelona make it happen given the financial situation? Those are questions that will need to be answered in the summer, but that's one thing that I am really worried about is the summer plan, because the rumors that we're hearing of the players that Barcelona are looking to sign, I just don't think that they're the right ones that Barcelona need right now. But again, they're just rumors. We don't know if those are concrete signings that Barcelona are going to make, so we'll just have to wait until the summer to see for sure. But I just want to talk about the summer plan right now. And just from the past few days, what we've heard is that Xavi wants to bring Eric Garcia back to the club. He could have around 10 to 15 million of market value, and the Girona coach said that he would like Eric Garcia to stay next season. I think that'd be good business from Barcelona. I just don't know if Eric Garcia, he has a place in Barcelona's team. I think he's had a pretty good season with Girona, but is that the signing that's going to help and cement Barcelona's defense to get back to their best? In my opinion, I don't think so. I don't think he's a bad squad player to have. But, is that the signing that's going to help Barcelona get to the next level? Keep in mind, they went trophyless this year, and rightfully so. They weren't good enough this season. And the players that they're going to bring back is Eric Garcia. They're probably going to sign Guido Rodriguez, which I don't think is the worst signing because they do need to sign a defensive midfielder. But Eric Garcia, Guido Rodriguez, and then renewing Roberto Lewandowski is going to continue to start every game as a striker. So the squad next season, I am a little bit worried about that, to be completely honest. And for the past few summers, I think there's been a lot of talk about Barcelona selling a lot of their players. There are going to be some big names that leave Barcelona in the summer, and it just never seems to happen. But just given the financial situation, I really think it's going to have to happen this summer if Barcelona, for the next 2 to 3 years, they want to be able to sign the big players. And I think about Esteval, Willian, Messinho, Barcelona, they have to make that signing happen. You cannot let a player that wants to join Barcelona slip away. One of the brightest young talents in the world. You have to be able to make that signing happen. And in my opinion, the same as Florian Wirtz. And that might seem like a long shot right now, but Florian Wirtz, he has to be a Barcelona player. That has to be a priority. And Barcelona, even if it takes 1 to 2 years, you have to be planning for that ahead. And I think he will leave Bayer Leverkusen next summer. That seems like the talk from Leverkusen's CEO. He seemed like he's going to be listening to offers for Florian Wirtz in 2025. Barcelona, they have to be one of the teams that's making offers for Florian Wirtz. Same with Esteval, Willian. Those players, they have to be Barcelona players. You cannot let them slip away. And if you want to get back to your best, those are signings that you have to make. You cannot miss out on those. And so would I be opposed to selling Frenkie de Jong and Lewandowski, those huge wages that Barcelona need to get rid of, just to be able to finance those signings in the next few years? I would be okay with letting a couple big players leave Barcelona in the summer. And yes, it would weaken the squad, but I just think the future of Barcelona, they have to get back to the level where they can sign the players that they want to sign at Barcelona. And, Florian Wirtz, Esteval, Willian, those seem like long shots, but you have to do everything you can to bring them to Barcelona. If you want to get back to your best, if you want Barcelona to look enjoyable and just fun and entertaining to watch, those players, they have to join the club, and you have to do everything you can. So if some players have to leave, yeah, those are harsh decisions. The players don't want to leave because they're getting paid 20, 30 million a year, and the expectations right now aren't that big. So yeah, I know that the media is harsh on them, but these players are getting 20 to 30 million a year. Lewandowski's contract next year goes up to 32 million. I have no clue what Laporta was doing, paying he knew he was going to be 36 years old in his third year of his contract, and he's giving him 32 million a year. That's a really bad financial decision. I know Lewandowski, yes, he's brought some good things to Barcelona, but man, that's a crazy contract for Barcelona. And yes, some of these decisions, you're going to have to try and make them. You're going to have to try and push some people out of the club if you want the club to get back to a serious level, to get back to one of the best in the world. Some harsh decisions are going to need to be made in the summer. And like I said, right now, the summer plan, there are just rumors, so we don't know if these signings are going to happen. We don't know if Eric Garcia is going to come back. We don't know if Roberto is going to get renewed. But that's the direction that the club is going right now. So I think, that Barcelona, I don't want to say we should panic, but Barcelona, they do need to make some signings in the summer. I think the squad needs a little bit of a revamp, and I think you have to get the financial situation back in order. So some players with big salaries, they might have to go in the summer. Yeah, and players like Guido Rodriguez, I think they would be good additions. I mean, he's a free transfer. I don't think he's going to have really high wages. But I'm just a little bit worried about the summer plan that Barcelona have, because I think, of course, we initially thought it was going to be a new coach, but it's going to be Xavi. I just think some of the decisions that he's made, given the squad, I mean, Vitor Roque, I'm going to talk about that later, but, renewing Roberto, I don't think he's a bad squad player, but when you bring him on in the midfield, these things tend to happen. Like, he tends to give the ball away or make a bad error, and it's no offense to Roberto. I really like him. He loves Barcelona. He's the captain. He's been there for such a long time, but you have to move on. If you want to grow as a club, these aren't players that you should be looking to renew. And he has a low enough contract that it's not a big deal if he renews. Oh, Finn's gone. But I still just think, I don't know. Yeah, he's done with Roberto as well, but I don't know. I just don't think that's the right thing to be doing, is renewing Roberto, a player that for years we've known just isn't that quality when he plays in the midfield. So I just think Barcelona, they should be moving on from players like that. And Eric Garcia, I think it's probably best for him and the club if he goes to Girona, who want to buy him. But yeah, the one big thing that's worrying me is the summer plan, and I'm not saying at all that Barcelona should spend big in the summer. I want their financial situation to be back in place. And if you have to make some big names leave in the summer, then do that, because I'm not planning for this summer to sign big names, but I hope in the next year or two they're able to sign players like Esteval Willian and Florian Wirtz, because for the future of the club, you just can't miss out on those signings. And so I would much rather, sacrifice a little bit this summer, selling some big names with big contracts and getting players like Florian Wirtz and Esteval Willian. If there's some possibility in the future, you have to make it happen. Even if there's a 10% chance, you have to try everything you can to bring these players to Barcelona. The second problem that I have at Barcelona that I think is a huge one for me is the disconnect between Xavi and Laporta and Deco, because I just don't understand this whole Vitor Roque situation. I think it's such a terrible look for the club, and Vitor Roque's agent has come out and said, we don't understand why Vitor Roque is not playing, and none of us do either. I mean, if Lewandowski was one of the best strikers in the world, yes, it's not expected that Vitor Roque is going to be starting every single game, but Vitor Roque, you brought him in January to reinforce the attack because you knew it was not doing very good. You bring Vitor Roque in, which obviously it wasn't Xavi asking for Vitor Roque, because he hasn't trusted him at all this season. And Xavi, I guess the rumor is that he's told Vitor Roque, you just need time. Like, I just don't know if I can give you the minutes right now, but it's basically like he doesn't want to take a chance on Vitor Roque, but Barcelona took a chance on him. He didn't have any experience at the top level, but he looks promising. And I know he played at Barcelona, so obviously he has that over Vitor Roque, but he didn't have that much experience, but he looked like a great prospect for a coach, and Barcelona gave him that opportunity, and I think he's done decent so far. But this Vitor Roque situation, I think it's a terrible look for the club, given the fact that they're going to want to try and sign other Brazilian prospects in the future. It's just a terrible look, and for Vitor Roque's confidence, it's not doing him any favors. And I could say the same exact thing about João Felix, because he wasn't a player that Xavi wanted to bring to Barcelona. It was Deco and Laporta. Laporta made it very clear that that was his signing that he wanted to make, and now João Felix, for the past 6 months, I don't think he's started more than 1 or 2 games, and he's getting 10 minutes off the bench. I think he's a pretty good player when he plays. Sometimes he's just a little bit lazy. He's just doesn't make the impact that you want him to make. I just don't understand why he was brought to the club. I understand it was for a very low loan fee, so yeah, I'm not saying it's a terrible signing, but if you know the head coach is not really wanting the player, why would you even bother bringing him to the club? That's where there's a huge disconnect between Xavi and Laporta, and you have to make sure that they are on the same page. I mean, that's bare minimum, because Barcelona, they've been at that part of their history where Bartomeu, he was buying players that had no game plan, had no future at Barcelona, didn't have a place in the team, and Valverde or Setien, they didn't want them. I guess I wouldn't even say Setien because he only had a couple months, but yeah, Valverde, that, for example, I don't think he was asking for those players, and then he didn't play them in the right positions. It just didn't work, and you just can't have that. You have to be on the same page as your head coach, and Laporta, it was him that wanted Xavi to stay at Barcelona. He was the one that convinced him to stay for 1 more year. So wouldn't you want to make sure you're on the same page? I don't understand that part at all. And again, the Vitor Roque situation, I think Barcelona did well to identify a number 9 position that they know they are going to need in the next 1 or 2 years, because Lewandowski's contract, it looks like he's going to stay at Barcelona for 1 more year, and how can you blame him, because he's getting paid $32 million a year to stay at Barcelona and get played every single week no matter how bad he plays. Anyways, But it would be great if Vitor Roque, he got a preseason, and then he got one season, to work under Lewandowski, to get some minutes here and there, and to get a couple starts when Barcelona, it was a league game where they needed to rest some players for the Champions League. Yeah, that would be great if Vitor Roque got some minutes. But now they're planning on sending him out on loan, but Vitor Roque's agent says, we are not leaving on loan. If we leave Barcelona, it's on a permanent deal. So I don't understand what's going on. It makes no sense because Vitor Roque, he's had one start in his number 9 position. One start, and you're already giving up on him. And in that one start, his midfield was Fermin Lopez, Oriol Romeu, and Sergio Roberto. I'm just as shocked as you that he didn't score. That's a terrible midfield. No offense to Fermin Lopez. There's no creativity there. I mean, if you're going to give Vitor Roque a start, at least give him Christensen, Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Gundogan. I mean, it's almost like setting him up for failure. And then every single time he comes on for Barcelona, he's being played as a left wing. That's not his preferred position. I wouldn't even mind him in that spot because when he was coming on, we actually had a runner in behind. It was so nice to see. It was exciting because he was getting opportunities. He wasn't finishing his chances, but I think that will come with time. And you just have to have patience with Vitor Roque. And Barcelona, right now, they're not having any at all because he's had 6 months. You were the ones that wanted to bring him in January, not give him a proper preseason, and then just to not play him, just to sit him on the bench. Even when Barcelona, they need runners in behind, he's still not being called upon. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me, and it's so frustrating to watch. For Vitor Roque, I hope he moves past this. I hope he still has confidence, and I definitely want him to stay at Barcelona. I think he can have a bright future here. I think he's a really exciting prospect, and even though he hasn't been incredible every single time he's came on, and sometimes, yes, he's missing a touch or he's missing a pass, that's going to come with time because he's 19 now. He's 19 in his first year in a Europe top league, coming from the Brazilian league where he did very well. I just don't understand because he was playing, he was getting minutes there. You brought him in January just for him to sit the bench and start one game in his preferred position. I don't understand it, but for Vitor Roque, I hope he moves past that. I hope he doesn't lose trust in Barcelona. And I hope players like Esteval Willian, who I very much hope that Barcelona are able to sign in the future, I hope they see this and they don't look away because of this. And yeah, it's really frustrating to watch, but I hope this is all just rumors. And I understand Vitor Roque's agent, he did come out and speak about all of this, but I hope it's just rumors. I hope Vitor Roque, he will be staying at Barcelona in the summer. It would be terrible, terrible business if Barcelona decide to sell him permanently. I don't want them also to loan him out. Yeah, I hope he stays at Barcelona and he's the second striker next season. But yeah, this disconnect between Xavi and Laporta, it can't happen going into next year because the signings that Barcelona want to make, you have to make sure they have a place in the team and that Xavi wants them. If you want to give Xavi your complete trust to coach Barcelona next season, you have to give him the squad that he wants. And then the third part I wanted to talk about was the financial situation at Barcelona because I'm having a difficult time understanding it because Lewandowski, oh man, that is just a terrible contract that Laporta gave him because it was great to bring Lewandowski in because at that time when he joined Barcelona, he was one of the best strikers in the world. I don't think he's at that level anymore. He's definitely turned it around in the past couple months, but this is a player that you are paying $32 million to next season. $32 million, and he's not one of the best in the world in his position. That's terrible business. There are no ways around it, and I also saw somewhere on Twitter that he might have an option for a 4th year. Are you kidding? This guy is going to be 37 years old making $20 million plus at Barcelona. And he's been really frustrating to watch. He's not been, a positive spark for Barcelona this season. I think he even struggled last year when he did. I think he won the Pichichi, but to be honest, he struggled for me. So it's really frustrating that you're paying him that much. I understand, Lewandowski wanted to join Barcelona, and it was a marquee signing that Laporta wanted to make. But, I mean, once you're paying $30 million to him, and then you can't register your players, it just seems like a really terrible business idea. Like, maybe Laporta thought the financial situation was going to be better at this point because he pulled the levers, he made these big signings. I mean, in that one summer, he bought Koundé, Rafinha, Lewandowski, gave them all big contracts, and now it just doesn't seem like Barcelona are able to really buy players or register players. I mean, they had to, unregister Gavi just to register Vitor Roque. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand the financial situation right now. I think it's pretty poor, and I think Laporta, he's part of the reason why it is bad. And I know La Liga is making it difficult for Barcelona, and Barcelona, they just want to try and get back to the 1-to-1 ratio so then they can sign players. I don't know everything about that, so maybe I just won't go too far into that, but I just think Barcelona, given the finances that Laporta himself has given to Barcelona, it's hurt the club. And, To be honest, if it was up to me, Lewandowski, he would absolutely be sold in the summer because I don't think he's bad. In the last 2 months, he's definitely stepped up for Barcelona. But that contract, you can't look past that for a 36, 37-year-old. That, to me, I'm going to look at him next year. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm going to be frustrated watching him. I'm going to hope that Vitor Roque is starting games, that Marquis would maybe be starting, but I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope Lewandowski completely proves me wrong, and he's enjoyable and fun to watch, and he's helping Barcelona's attack, and he's moving fast. But I have my doubts, and yeah, I just think Laporta maybe he has not handled this financial situation very well. I know it's difficult because how bad Bartomeu left the club. I'm not saying it's an easy job for Laporta, but some of the decisions that he's made, you definitely have to question them. And keep in mind also that Messi, the greatest player of all time, wanted to join Barcelona last summer, but because of the financial situation, it couldn't happen. Laporta, of course, he did kick him out of Barcelona, not intentionally. It was because of the financial situation, but you know, he was telling Messi he would be able to sign him. It was going to work, and then the last second didn't do it. There's some questionable stuff that's going on with Laporta and the financial situation. I'm sure he's trying his best, and it's difficult to navigate around what Bartomeu left Barcelona. But it's been a while. I hope Barcelona's financial situation in the next few years it's better. But to me, it's making it worse when you're paying players like Lewandowski, you know, $32 million a year. That was a contract that Laporta wrote up, not Bartomeu. So I don't know. There's some questionable stuff going on there. The fourth and final topic that I wanted to talk about is don't panic, because I'm seeing some stuff that Barcelona, you know, they're going to have to make some big changes in the summer. I agree that Barcelona, they have to make some signings, and I think some players should be sold, but I don't think Barcelona should be spending money they don't have in the summer. You know, players like Dani Olmo, Bernardo Silva, I think those would be luxury players. I don't think that they're necessities for Barcelona's squad, and so don't sign them, in my opinion. I would much rather Barcelona, the only big money signing I think they should try and make in the summer is Nico Williams. That's the only player that I think is worth the $50 million that Barcelona are rumored to. I think he would be such a good addition. But to be honest, I don't really see him leaving Athletic Bilbao in the summer. Hope, again, I'm wrong about that. But I have a feeling that he's going to stay. If he does want to leave, I hope it would be to Barcelona, and I think Barcelona would be his second choice. But right now, it seems likely that he's going to stay at Bilbao. So Barcelona, to be honest, I don't know many other players that they should be looking to sign in the summer. In my opinion, I would much rather Barcelona make low signings in the summer if they can't sign Nico Williams. If they can sign Nico Williams, please make that signing. But players like Dani Olmo, Bernardo Silva, that are going to cost 50 to 60 million, don't do it. If you can bring Xavi Simons on loan, that would be good. But don't panic. Don't make these big signings that Barcelona, they just don't have the ability to finance. But I will say, in 1 to 2 years, I hope they're planning for the squad in the future, and that would involve players like Esteval Willian. When he turns 18, he could join Barcelona, so it gives Barcelona a little bit more time to get their finances in order. Hopefully they can make a deal with Palmeiras. That's the team that he plays on. And yeah, those players, just don't panic. Don't buy players like Bernardo Silva. I would much rather Barcelona wait for players like Florian Wirtz and Esteval Willian. Just wrap those signings up early. Say that you have the finances available, and then save that money. You know, if you need to sell some players in the summer, please do it to be able to finance those signings in the future. But don't panic this summer and buy players that you just can't afford. Some may argue that those signings maybe Barcelona can't afford, so would it be the same thing? In my opinion, it's not, because Esteval Willian, I hope for the next 10 years he would be a great Barcelona player. And same with Florian Wirtz. For the next 10 years he would be a great Barcelona player. You know, players like Dani Olmo and Bernardo Silva, those are players that could help the squad right now, but it's just like Lewandowski a couple of seasons ago, that it's a short-term signing that, you know, in the end you're probably going to be paying him too much money, and then his market value is gone, so you can't sell him. So I would much rather Barcelona make those signings in 1 to 2 years, or just plan for the additions of Florian Wirtz and Esteval Willian. I don't think Barcelona is going super downhill. I just saw the deal about Nike paying them around $100 million a season in a kit sponsor. That's great. So I'm not panicking. I don't think Barcelona's financial situation is going to lead them to not exist in a couple years. There were some reports about, you know, Bayern thinking that Barcelona wouldn't be around in 10 years when they were trying to make these installment payments to Lewandowski. I don't think that's going to happen as long as Laporta, they just don't panic and make these signings that they just don't have the ability to finance. But in 1 to 2 years, I hope they're planning for the future, because I'm going to be honest, in the next 1 to 2 years, I don't think Barcelona is going to be one of the best teams in the world. I just don't think they have the ability to sign the players they need to get back to the best in the world. but they can still compete with all trophies next season, I think, if they make the right signings in the summer and they plan for the future. That's the most important thing for me. And I'm going to make more videos about it until these signings hopefully happen. I really hope they do. But Florian Wirtz and Esteban Willian, those are signings that Barcelona, they should be planning to make. So don't go crazy in the summer. Don't make signings that, are just short-term boosts to the squad. I would much rather them plan for the future of Barcelona. And I think the signings of Florian Wirtz and Esteban Willian, those would be signings that I would love to see and would, of course, help Barcelona in the future. And as always, thank you very much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And now I'm going to try in Spanish. Y en el verano es un tiempo importante para Barcelona y no necesito ganar, to spend. I'll leave that in the comments, to spend. No necesito costar dinero que Barcelona no tiene. Y es importante para Barcelona y tranquilo. Y no necesito Bernardo Silva, Dani Olmo y entonces. Y también espero que Ansu Fati regresar a Barcelona. Yo pienso que es un gran jugador y puede ayudar a Barcelona en el próximo año. Y sí, espero que es posible para Ansu Fati a regresar a Barcelona. Y gracias por todos. Quiero practicar más porque es difícil para mí, pero es más y más y en el futuro yo puedo hablar más. Y gracias por todos y hasta mañana.